Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you here on behalf of British, Czech and Slovak Association to the official launch of Anna Fodorova's latest book, In the Blood. To organize tonight's book launch together with its publisher, Arachne Press, the Czech Center, the Czech Embassy, and the support of those. Today we're here to officially launch the latest book by Anna Fodorova. Many of you are familiar with this acclaimed Czech author and psychotherapist who grew up in post-war Prague. Her career stretches in animation, or started in animation and script writing, for example for BBC or Channel 4. She now works as a psychotherapist and author, writing both in English and in Czech. The memoir Lenka, the memoir of her mother, an author, Lenka Reinerová, was published in the Czech Republic. In 2015, the book Training Patient was published here in the UK, and also the Arachne Press published a couple of short stories and anthologies, Stations and Liberty Tales. The chair of today's launch is novelist, lecturer, and literary critic Jude Cook. Among his books, there's Barn Easy from 2013 and Jacob's Advice from 2020. He's written for The Guardian, Spectator, Literary Review, New Statesman, and TLS. He teaches creative writing at University of Westminster. The excerpts will be read by Lisa Rose, an actress and writer. She's also mother and is Jewish. She's writing a play about her Jewish Ukrainian heritage, as well as a piece about women in the entertainment industries. She records audiobooks and museum voiceovers at Bletchley Park and the Museum of London. She is a cold water swimmer and has a dog called Chip. So this evening we will start with a discussion, followed by Q&A and then reception.
And the book is set in the late 1980s in London and Prague, against the backdrop of the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe. The novel's heroine, Agata, is the only child of Czech Jewish parents who grows up in post-war Prague, believing all her relatives perished in the Holocaust. But when she moves to London as an adult, she finds out from her mother, Doris, that this isn't quite the case. So she goes off in search of these missing relatives. And the quest narrative ensues, which I must say really drives the book as a narrative motor. It's a real sort of page-turner. But I think with Agata's quest, it's not a dry exercise in genealogy, is it? There's something compelling her to do this. It's almost as if these missing relatives are like the missing links in her own identity. So is the question of identity, how we invent our identities perhaps, something that's important to you as a novelist and a psychotherapist?
Yes, I suppose it is something that is important to me.
Is that on? Do you want to swap mics maybe?
Yes, I suppose is something that is important to me. I suppose everyone who has left their country has to sort of contend with this concept, like who are they when they live abroad? And what sort of identity do they assimilate? Do they take on the new identity, as it were, or to what extent do they stay who they were? In my case, I had several identities, as it were, because I was born in Yugoslavia, in Belgrade, because my father was from Yugoslavia. And so, in fact, my first language was Serbian, Serbocrat. And we moved to Czechoslovakia when I was 2 years old. So one can say I can't perhaps remember, but I do remember that language, and it was a language my father spoke to me, and my mother was writing in German, living in Czechoslovakia. So there was a kind of many different tongues, almost like a confusion of tongues, which also there is something about that and about your identity, where in fact, and which is at this moment, in fact, my situation, where I don't have one particular language. I mean, I have Czech, and I've just written first time in Czech this kind of a memoir, but that's not the language I live in and I write in. And this language, English, is, it's also very, very problematic. How do I write in a language which isn't mine, which I have learned as an adult? And I will finish now, but I just want to say one more thing, is that, when I was looking at people who write in languages which are not their own, I came across this quote from Joseph Conrad, where he says, he was a Polish writer writing in English, and he says, writing in English, it's like being in a mine, quarrying, hacking from the wall, in complete darkness and at night. Every sentence you have to hack out of that dark wall where there is no light. And I think it's a very good description, that something that could be at the tip of your tongue, I don't have. I have to look for everything. And I suppose many writers who write in a different language have to do the same.
Is there any inspiration you have taken from your mother in your writing, if there is any?
I'm not aware of inspiration, but of course I have, grown up in a certain family, and my both parents were writers. And it's not very easy to grow up. I mean, I'm not saying it's difficult, but I'm saying is that if you grow up in a family where both parents are writers, of course, it's part of your life that you, even visually, when I see myself sitting, writing in a notebook, I can see my father, for example.
Thank you, Anna, for being such a wonderful guest tonight.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Jude. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you.